Capita DOA for 2020. We rode this with Union Stratus, rode these with Adidas Tactical ADVs. Just to give you a quick summary of this board, everybody knows about this board. Everybody knows what it does. It's got camber underfoot to flat to a little bit of early rise. It is a very poppy, semi-technical to technical mountain freestyle twin that really excels in getting air. But if you're kind of a beginner intermediate, you might not have the best time on this. You might like the outer space living better. And if you
might like the defenders of mediocrity.
Yes, we are. We're the defenders of mediocrity. They're the defenders of awesome.
They don't make a board called the defenders of mediocrity. But if they did,
the DOM, the DOM.
The DOM.
Yeah. But we if you're more looking for a more forgiving ride, the outer space living is going to be the call. If you're looking for a little more camber, similar pop, and more of that traditional camber feel with a touch of early rise to be more forgiving, then you want the Outsiders. And I think the Outsiders has a little more appeal to us on that technical side. And the outer space living has that more forgiving, kind of easy floating in powder kind of thing going for it. But this definitely has a, if you're a ripper and you just love that feeling of flat, the way it engages in an ollie, this could work for you. And the way it hits kickers and the way it throws, and it definitely feels more aggressive than you would think for how little camber there is between the feet. And let's get into the flex and the pop and the butterability, shall we, sir?
Yeah.
Oh boy, yep. She's like medium right now. She buttered well in the tip and tail, but not as easy as I thought. The outer space living was much easier, and actually the Outsiders was a little easier too. Didn't you feel that?
Yeah.
That flat there is kind of stiff, but if you're stronger on your butters, maybe you might get return out of it. It's more of that ripper kind of board, and we're not. We're the average rider, so these other boards kind of appeal to us in different ways. As far as the feeling goes, this feels today, out of all those three boards, right out of the factory, all three of these boards, this was the most catchy of the outer space living by far, and a little more catchy than the Outsiders, because I think it was, not like a catchy tune.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, more just like catches your edge and slams you into the ground. I definitely felt like I had to be on my game with this today more than any other board. Didn't you? Yeah.
Better believe it.
But, it tracks well. It one-foots well. It has that consistent personality throughout all conditions. And that's what's kind of cool about like flat to rocker boards and hybrid camber boards like these. The turn initiation is pretty quick. It didn't feel slow or fast, just kind of like upper middle, medium fastish. It got where I wanted it to go. But the turning experience and carving, I felt like that flat on both ends really kind of got into the game of how this board wants to turn. And I didn't feel like it carved well and had decent spring out of the turn. But when you get off this board, we would take a run and switch, and then you get on the Outsiders. Wow. Okay, the Outsiders was a whole new story. It really had just more drive, more spring, more of a lively, energetic feel underfoot, and that's kind of what leans us more towards the Outsiders, is that better feel when you're turning and carving. And speed, they're both about the same. They both just can bomb pretty well for lower cost twins, and for the base that they have a pretty decent base. All of them, except for the outer space living, are centered now. The outer space living is kind of like a hybrid centered, but kind of more like, still kind of more on the extruded side. Very durable. All don't really require a lot of wax. It keeps the speed well, pretty damp. Uneven terrain, pretty good. Like powering over stuff a little bit, but man, that flat is kind of catchy if you want to skid your turns through uneven terrain. I'd much rather be on the Outsiders and have that camber spring. and I'd much rather be on the Outer Space Living to have that forgiving skid. You know what I mean? But it's okay. It's not bad. And Switch, it's fine either way. Didn't you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a true twin. It's fine either way. Powder, I've tried this a couple times in powder. Not this year, but in past years, and it's just not for me. It just feels like an old camber board, maybe a little better. Better than some old camber boards and not as good as others. And it would be good to have a board like one of these for a powder day, or is it the Navigator now? I think it's the Navigator. It used to be the Charlie Slasher. Having something like that for the powder days to complement this would be great. It's definitely, or if you're just used to riding old school camber boards and you just know how to keep your speed and your float, then that'll be fine. But for park, for jibs, not so much for me. How about you?
Yeah, I think I would take it on some jibs, some boxes, and flat rails. Nothing technical, I'm not like a down, flat, down kind of guy.
Yeah.
No, I'm more of a just flat kind of guy.
And for pipe, I just like the Outer Space Living and the Outsiders a little more. This catchy, it's just catchy. It's technical. It's a little more catchy than the other two. So, again, if you're a ripper, it might be a little more fun for you. For me, I preferred the other two riding in the pipe year over year. I just really enjoy the Outsiders there more than the Outer Space Living. But this is really the jump board. That's what it really does. It ollies well. It pops well off the nose and tail. And you can go pretty big kicker-wise with this, although we don't. But if you do, you can. But overall, it's a fun board. I think I can see why a lot of people like it. And it's got a little more tech, a little more oomph to it. And if you're a ripper, this might be your call.